Hey, so, look, I've been really upset recently. I think a lot of that's justified. I think a lot of it's universal. The world's not in a good place. People aren't sleeping. I'm not sleeping. People aren't getting the health care that they need. I'm not getting the health care that I need. We don't know what to expect from this administration. We don't know what to expect from the Middle East. We don't know what to expect in terms of our relationship with Canada or NATO or Europe. Everything is so bleak and scary and tumultuous, and people are disconnected because they're staring at these black mirrors all day, right? They're staring at these screens. Not that screen, this screen, or that screen, TV screen. And depending on which channel you watch or which website you visit, where you get your news, or where you don't get your news, some people are more informed than others. Some people are being misled. People are not being provided the context that they need to understand these really complicated situations. And some people just want to believe in things so hard that they will ignore the truth. It brings me to religion. And actually, I wasn't thinking about my own upbringing. I was thinking about Christianity and about how Trump has ridden this wave of evangelicals all the way to the presidency. And how even though there was the overturning of Roe versus Wade, the timing just didn't work out in 2024. That was the peak of the resurgence of Trumpism, and he was able to get back into the White House. It just so happened to coincide with a lot of Jewish grief about October 7th, and there was just enough justification remaining for that that genocide, that Bibi was able to stay in power. I mean, these people are like, and these people, I mean, the far right, they're like cockroaches, and boomers too. They're like cockroaches. They're just hanging on and somehow surviving. And the worst of them, only the good die young, right? Like my mom died at 70, which is not young, but it's really not that old either. And a lot of times I do find myself thinking, maybe it's best she didn't see the world as it is. But I do think that when this is all over, and it will be over, things will return to normal, and it'll be like when you run to the bathroom knowing you have to take this enormous shit, and you're worried it's going to be way too hard or way too messy, and it turns out the shit itself is not that painful, it's not that strenuous, takes a little while, comes out, definitely not, your preferred way to spend a half an hour, but you clean it up and then you feel better and you get off the toilet and then you get things done. That's my take on the last 10 years and where we'll be in 2028. Assuming we are not dragged into World War III or Civil War or Trump doesn't throw a tantrum and a bunch of hamburger patties at the Secret Service when he's not reelected for a third term. There I go on one of my political tangents again. I want to talk about me. And you. And by you, I mean the world, but more specifically, I mean the people close to me, the people who are actually watching these videos. And to be clear, I don't know exactly who you are. I don't know who cares enough about me to be checking in on me. Because a lot of people have gone radio silent. I think some of that is because I get it. Like, we're all overwhelmed. We all are dealing with these massive issues with the world right now that are just too psychologically overwhelming and painful to and complicated to process, too draining, and so we can't handle any additional drama, and so we just try and focus on things that are either neutral or directly affecting our own lives, or TikTok or whatever. But I truly do believe apathy is the enemy here. And I think apathy is what brought us to this point. I brought up the fact that there are, at least in the 2024 presidential election, there were more people who didn't vote than there were people who voted for Trump, or people who voted for Harris. I think it was like 78 million people for Trump and 76 million people for Harris, and like 83 million people who didn't vote. And like, no matter what you look, or no matter who's president, you're always going to get like at least 35% approval rating for a president. And I think that's true regardless of the party. People are just like, okay, we have a president. President is in office. I've got a life to live. I've got work to do. I've got at least one job, probably two. I'm not making a lot of money. I'm not really following politics. I support the president because I support the United States of America. And it's just my theory. We need to care more about one another. We need to get off these fucking screens. We need to get back to in-person activity. You tell me that you have ever had a conversation on Bumble or Tinder or Facebook or a thread on Reddit that has been as interesting or revealing as a conversation with a stranger. I'm not saying conversations with strangers are always great. You meet somebody at a bar, you have a beer, you have a whiskey, you have a glass of wine, have some tater tots or cheeseburger or whatever. Maybe you never speak to that person again. Maybe you never think about that person again. Maybe you get in an argument with that person. At least you feel something, you know? We're going to talk about that a lot, right? The internet. It's very one-sided. I'm talking into a green light. I'm not facing any opposition to my perspective right now, which calms my anxiety in the moment, but there's no stimulus, there's no back and forth, there's no exchange of ideas or thoughts or feelings. It's just an extension of that apathy that I'm talking about. And in a way it's comforting, but mostly it's just really horrible. It's isolating. It's bad for us. We need people. We need people in person. At least half of communication is through body language. Doesn't matter if it's in 720p or 1080p. This is not reading body language. This is a poor substitute for human interaction and a sort of substitute for entertainment. It's like where it's like sweet and low. It's not quite sugar. It'll get the job done, maybe, but it's not the real thing. Human beings weren't meant to talk to screens. They were meant to talk to one another. They were meant to have disagreements. They were meant to have different viewpoints and to challenge one another. I think that we make the most growth as individuals and as societies by making mistakes. But with a remote control, you can just change channel. Or a laptop, you can just go on a different website. Or a phone, you can just scroll onto a different app. It's never been easier to just tune out what you don't like. At the same time, companies have found ways to hack these things so that you're always going to get an advertisement on TV. You're always going to get something out of your algorithm that pisses you off because they know you're going to be more engaged with your Twitter app or your Facebook app if you're slightly enraged, you're slightly confused, and you become emotionally invested. Again, we're 12 minutes in, and I feel like I'm ignoring the elephant in the room, which is myself. Look, I have real dreams. I have real aspirations. I want to run for office. I want to become a writer. I'm 36 years old. I don't feel it. But at some point in the last 2 years, I started feeling old. I started thinking almost every single day about that quotation from Dante's Inferno. I believe he begins the book by the poem by saying, halfway, midway on life's journey, through the journey of life. I don't feel like I'm halfway there. That scares the shit out of me. And if I'm halfway there, and I've spent half my time in front of a screen like this, half my time on this planet in front of a screen like this, well, that means I wasted half my time, in my opinion. I want to be engaged in community. I want to fall in love again. I'd like to start a family. At some point when I'm brave enough, I'd like to start going out on bad dates again. And by bad dates, I mean dates where I really like someone. And I'm really hoping that she likes me back and she doesn't. And it fucking hurts. Because that hurt, that's a good thing. It means that, it means I had hope, that there was a connection. It means that I had to recognize that there is another human being who has different needs and wants, who didn't feel that connection. And that I have to keep trying. And that ultimately I'll be rewarded if I'm persistent. And I continue to work on myself and be the best person possible. And I will make that connection. And then I'll start my own family. That's another thing you don't get when you're just staring at screens all day, right? It's hope because you're so distracted and amused by any form of entertainment that you want. There's certain things I wanted to clarify real quick about the last few years about why I'm so angry. I mean, obviously, society's gone to shit. None of the stuff that I have to say is easy or simple. I'm really disappointed in the Jewish community. I was raised Jewish. I probably conservative. I always thought that Judaism, well, we were the chosen people, right? I thought that was because of our morality. I thought we were really morally sound. I don't feel that way anymore. And actually, it speaks to how ill-informed I am and how my news feed and algorithms are corrupted. You know, up until very, very recently, I believed that I was alone as a Jew. That I was one of the only Jews who believe what's happening in Palestine is genocide, is an atrocity. I now think that probably half of Jews feel that way. I think the vast majority of Jews, whether they're American Jews or Israeli Jews, think that Netanyahu is a monster, a golem. I think a lot of Jews have the same feelings that I do about Hasidim. I think there are a lot of really good Jews out there. And frankly, I'm attracted to Jewish women. Jewish women and Latinas, which are very distinct groups, but there's a male loneliness crisis out there. I think there's a loneliness crisis in general, but there's a great book from last year called Notes on Being a Man by Scott Galloway, who's an NYU professor. And he talks about why loneliness is, frankly, so much more dangerous for men than it is for women. Not to mention the last 10 years, and I get it, I'm not trying to play the victim here. I'm really not. I understand why the world hates white men right now. I get it. But there are a lot of different white men. A lot of different perspectives. And I'm proud of my involvement with the Democratic Party in the United States. I'm proud to say that I have never voted for a Republican. I'm proud to say that I attended the first 3 Me Too movement rallies. I think they had them up until 2021. So it was in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. I was at 3 or 4 of them. It was freezing in January. I think women are better than men. I love women. Boy, the problem is that women don't love me. And I get that too. I'm open to friendships. I think that's Something that's really problematic, though, and I mentioned this earlier this week. I mean, it would be really nice to have a romantic relationship right now, but once you get to a certain age, mid-30s especially, people go off. They do their Bambi thing, right? What was it? Bambi, the deer, and then he had a rabbit friend, and then he had I always forget the other animal. Skunk, maybe? And so the skunk's at the bottom, back of the line, they're all walking through the forest, and the three guys, three bros, right? The male skunk sees a female skunk. He just disappears. So then you just have Bambi, and you have the rabbit right behind Bambi. You don't even notice the skunk is gone at first. And the rabbit, I think his name is Thumper, he sees a female rabbit batting her eyes at him, and he disappears to start his own family. Bambi's like, oh shit, I'm lost in the woods. Yo, Thumper, what's going on? Where are we headed? Turns around, his two friends are gone. He's like, oh fuck, I'm alone. Except it's a Disney movie, so Bambi ends up with someone. Me, I'm still lost in the woods with half a body. Which is the final point I'll make here. And the one that I think is going to be hardest for people to relate to. Although, I don't want to say I'll be pleasantly surprised, because I'm not surprised and I'm not happy whenever I hear some of these American horror stories about the healthcare system. And denials and lack of coverage. It's a great show, you should watch it. So I told some female friends last year, I was really convinced I was going to die in LA. I mean, I had half a functioning body. My hand doesn't have sensation. I don't have full range of motion in my right arm. There are days where the arm is literally frozen. Well, not literally frozen, but almost, it's like locked. I can't move it. And then there's the dysfunction, and then there's the pain. And the pain is so overwhelming that I can't think about anything else. But yeah, I mean, the healthcare system's completely fucked up. For 3 years, I haven't been able to see the doctors that I need to see. And I got hit by a car. My dad thinks that happened 8 years. He said this to me as much, almost in these exact words. Happened 8 years ago. Why aren't you over it? Well, because it's not a mental problem. It's a physical problem. That's something that really bothers me to the point where I don't know if that's just his warped perspective or if other people feel that way and think that way about me. That this is all in my head. Because I had MRIs and X-rays and CAT scans and studies and 40 emergency room visits with medical reports, all of which state, and 2 massive surgeries, technically 3, plus 2 nerve blocks. This is a physical thing. It's a physical issue. The bone was shattered. The humeral head was shattered. And then there was a vascular necrosis. There was bone death. So the right arm, the right humerus, died. I had to have a shoulder replacement. I have the medical report right behind me. Now, we're finding out which muscles were damaged and how. Not to mention that the muscles were weakened by the crash, so they were more susceptible to tearing. And I'm getting older, so for example, I've known for the last 18 months I've had a torn rotator cuff. And the way that that's supposed to be dealt with is through physical therapy and occupational therapy, 12 sessions each. But in California, my insurance which was through the Affordable Care Act, which was Obamacare, which was a platinum PPO plan that ran $700 a month if I didn't have subsidies. They said that there is no occupational therapy within 50 miles of Los Angeles. So I probably needed surgery at that point on my rotator cuff. But I couldn't get to that surgery because in order to have that surgery approved by my insurance, I needed to have an occupational therapist say, hey, Dan has gone through 12 sessions of occupational therapy and he's not improving, so therefore he's going to need to have his muscle sewn back up. And then he's got to go back to occupational and physical therapy, and then the muscle can rebuild itself. I have audio tapes. I have like 30 hours of audio tapes of me just talking in circles with insurance companies and them farting excuses out of their asses. I want to sue the state of California over it. I mean, more than that, I want to use it as evidence that I can become a politician and I can get universal health care for America. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing that we are the United States of America, the things that we've been able to accomplish, and we can't get health care for our own people. Like, really? So I guess in summation, what I'm trying to say is this. If you've made it almost a half hour into this video and you care what I have to say, chances are you're somebody I really love. A friend, as a family member. Maybe I have romantic feelings for you, and maybe we've discussed that, maybe not, I don't know. I told a lot of women I love them, and I'm gonna be honest with you. My mind kind of scares me how much love there is in me. But there is that much love in me. The flip side of that is that there's that much hate in me. I possess that much hate as well. And I think that's what people have seen recently. A lot of that fire, a lot of that hate. And I'm sorry about that. I really am. It is part of who I am, but it's not entirely who I am. And fire's a tool. If you use it properly, you give people heat, give people warmth, give people comfort. You can do amazing things with fire. But you gotta learn to control it. So I hope you can see that this is me learning to control my emotions. And that the raw passion is there for the issues that matter. And that there is a brain in here, and I can use it as a tool. Not to punish other people, but to figure out the most sensible way forward for us as a species, for us as Americans, and as New Jerseyans, for us as a family, for me and my family of friends. When I'm out of pain, when I've got the proper painkillers, when I've got the right medications, when I'm articulate like this and focused, certain secrets start to demystify and become kind of obvious. Like I'm really not that depressed, and I'm kind of an optimist. And I'm kind of a lover. And I'm kind of handsome and funny and single. Just let me cook. Just give me a little more time. Let things cool down with the world. Let me get the healthcare team that I need assembled. I don't have a therapist. I haven't had a therapist, a consistent therapist, in 3 years. The closest thing I had was a social worker at Jewish Family Services. Guess what happened? I fell in love with her. I think she hates my guts. And I'm sorry, Jen. I probably wasn't the best timing to be like, oh, she just had a baby. Let me tell her that I love her. Oh, I really wish you'd let me say those 3 words to you. Because I need love. I need hope. I'm human. I make mistakes. I get angry and I get sad, and sometimes I smile and sometimes I laugh. But just know I'm trying to do the right thing. And if you ever have a serious problem with me, or you have something that you really want to discuss, I can actually shut the fuck up and listen to you. I'm capable of that. Capable of taking sound advice. And I want to hear how you're doing, and I want to help you. I want to be there for you, no matter who you are. I just wish people would listen to me more often, especially when it concerns myself and my body and my needs. Just give me the health care that I need. Help me stop smoking. Hang out with me, be my friend. Maybe be my lover. Get me to that fucking Bruce Springsteen concert, please. I need that. I need that. And when my arm starts functioning better, probably after surgery and more physical and occupational therapy, hopefully I can start working a traditional job. And hopefully that'll be after I finish writing Killing Machine and editing this documentary about my life called Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own, which is also about the male loneliness crisis. And I'm writing a companion piece to that, which is the one project I haven't started, a memoir called Balance. I've been talking about these projects for years, or at least Killing Machine for years. The other 2 has taken various forms. The documentary is the most recent project. I think that's just a few months old. But whenever I talk about my career, my aspirations, I always mention those 3 projects, and then I mention that I want to run for Congress. And unless you've got a reason why I shouldn't do those things, why I shouldn't pursue those goals, why I can't be a writer, why I can't be a politician, and if you do have a reason, please let me know. But I think I got a pretty good head on my shoulders. and a good heart and a lot of chutzpah. And I'd like to think I have your support. Believe it or not, you have my support. As long as you're not doing something egregious, I'll be there for you. I hope you'll be there for me in the future, where we're all headed, and where I'm convinced there's a lot more light than there is at the moment. Have a good night. Make America love again. From Jersey with love, Dan.